This castle has survived over 400 years of earthquakes, wars, and even direct bombing runs. You've seen castles crumble from a single cannon blast. You know how wooden structures burn. Every history book tells the same story. Old buildings don't make it. Yet Himeji Castle stands gleaming white against the Japanese sky, untouched. Here's what doesn't make sense. American bombers leveled the entire city around it in 1945. The castle, not a scratch. Earthquakes that destroyed concrete buildings left it standing. Firebombs that melted steel skipped right over it.
Himeji Castle sits in Hyogo Prefecture, southwestern Japan, about 50 kilometers west of Kobe. You'll find it rising from a hill that overlooks what was once a critical strategic position between Kyoto and western Japan. The original fort appeared here in 1333, but what you see today began with Toyotomi Hideyoshi in 1581. He was Japan's most powerful warlord, and he built the foundation of what would become legend. But the true architect of Himeji's magnificence was Ikeda Terumasa, who transformed it between 1601 and 1609 into the stunning complex that survives today. Terumasa received Himeji as a reward for backing Tokugawa Ieyasu in the Battle of Sekigahara, the conflict that unified Japan. He spent 8 years and untold wealth creating not just a fortress, but a masterpiece.
They call it Shirasagi-jo, the White Heron Castle. The nickname comes from its brilliant white plaster walls that gleam like a bird in flight. You're looking at a 6-story main keep surrounded by 3 smaller keeps, all connected by a labyrinth of gates, walls, and passages. The entire complex covers 233 hectares. But here's where it gets clever. The path to the main keep forces attackers through a maze designed to confuse and kill. You'd think you're moving forward, but the path doubles back. Gates appear where walls should be. Dead ends trap you in killing zones where defenders rain arrows and stones from hidden positions above. The walls themselves are engineering marvels. White fireproof plaster covers thick earthen ramparts. Rectangular, circular, and triangular holes pierce the walls at strategic points for firing arrows, guns, and dropping stones. The base stones are massive, some weighing several tons, fitted together without mortar using a technique so precise that earthquakes can't shake them apart. The main keep rises 46.4 meters from its stone foundation. Inside, you'll find wooden pillars over 24 meters tall, carved from single trees. The castle used entire forests worth of timber, all fitted together with traditional Japanese joinery, no nails required. The roof tiles are a story themselves. Each one is cemented in place and decorated with circular emblems. They're heavy, incredibly heavy, which actually helps. The weight gives the structure a low center of gravity that resists earthquake damage.
Here's the astonishing part. Himeji Castle never saw major combat. You'd expect a fortress this elaborate to have battle scars, siege stories, blood-soaked walls. Instead, it served primarily as a symbol of power and an administrative center. The Tokugawa shogunate assigned it to trusted lords who governed the region peacefully for over 250 years. During the Meiji Restoration in 1868, when Japan modernized and many castles were destroyed, Himeji survived by sheer luck. The government auctioned it off for 23 yen, roughly $200 today. The buyer planned to demolish it and sell the materials, But the cost of dismantling such a massive structure exceeded its salvage value, so it stood. The Japanese army used it as a garrison during the late 1800s and early 1900s. They actually wanted to tear down parts of it to make room for modern facilities. Public outcry stopped them.
Then came World War II. On July 3, 1945, American B-29 bombers dropped 767 tons of incendiary bombs on Himeji. The city burned. Over 2,000 people died. Roughly one-third of the city turned to ash. One firebomb landed directly on the top floor of the main keep. It didn't explode. Historians still debate why. Some say it was a dud. Others claim divine intervention. The practical explanation suggests the bomb pierced the roof but failed to detonate due to a mechanical failure. Whatever the reason, that single malfunction saved Japan's greatest castle.
The castle does have one dark legend, Okiku's Well. According to the story, a servant girl named Okiku was falsely accused of losing one of 10 valuable plates. Her samurai master, who wanted her romantically and was rejected, broke one plate himself and blamed her. The punishment for such carelessness was death. Okiku was tortured and thrown into a well. Now her ghost supposedly haunts the castle, counting plates over and over. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, 1 through 9, never reaching 10, then screaming in anguish. The well still exists in the castle grounds. Visitors report feeling cold spots nearby. A more modern controversy erupted during the 2009-2015 restoration. The project cost $60 million and replastered the entire castle in brilliant white. Some purists complained it looked too new, too white, like a theme park reproduction rather than a historic structure. They preferred the aged, grayish patina. But historically, this gleaming white appearance is accurate. When first built, Himeji blazed white across the landscape, a deliberate statement of power and prestige. The restoration returned it to its original glory.
The castle contains hidden chambers for princess residence. Women of the lord's family lived in the uppermost floors of the main keep, where defensive considerations gave way to living quarters with surprisingly sophisticated ventilation and light. There's a kitchen on the 6th floor, a kitchen in a defensive tower. The logic was siege preparation. Defenders could survive for weeks without leaving the keep. The castle's defensive maze includes 84 gates, each one different, each strategically placed. An invading army would need detailed maps just to navigate, and those maps didn't exist outside the Lord's inner circle. Underneath the main keep, massive support pillars stand on foundation stones that rest on compacted earth, not bedrock. Engineers in the 1600s understood soil dynamics well enough to create flexible supports that absorb earthquake energy. Modern seismologists study these techniques. The castle has survived at least 6 major earthquakes, including the devastating 1995 Great Hanshin earthquake that killed over 6,000 people in nearby Kobe. Himeji's damage? Fallen roof tiles. That's it.
In 1931, Japan designated Himeji a national treasure. In 1993, it became Japan's first UNESCO World Heritage Site alongside Horyuji Temple. UNESCO called it the finest surviving example of early 17th century Japanese castle architecture. Unlike many Japanese castles, which are concrete reconstructions built in the 1950s and 60s, Himeji is almost entirely original. When you walk through it, you're touching 400-year-old wood, standing on 400-year-old floors, looking through 400-year-old windows. You want to visit early morning on weekdays. The castle opens at 9 a.m., and by 10 a.m. during peak seasons, you're waiting in lines that snake through multiple gates. Spring brings cherry blossoms. Over 1,000 cherry trees bloom around the castle grounds in late March and early April, creating the most photographed scene in Japanese castle tourism. But you'll share it with massive crowds. Autumn offers better weather and fewer tourists. The castle against fall foliage rivals the cherry blossom views without the chaos. You'll remove your shoes before entering the main keep, so wear socks or bring indoor slippers. The stairs inside are steep, nearly ladder steep in sections, and polished smooth by millions of visitors. Hold the handrails. The climb to the top floor is strenuous, 6 stories of narrow staircases and low ceilings. But the view from the top encompasses the entire city and surrounding mountains. You understand why they built here. Allow 3 hours minimum, 2 for the castle itself, 1 for the gardens and outer structures. The western citadel, Nishinomaru, features long corridors where the princess and her attendants lived. The architecture shifts from military to residential, offering contrast to the main keep's austere functionality. Photography is permitted throughout, except a few specific areas marked with signs. The best exterior shots come from the Sanomaru area, the third bailey, where you get the classic view with all 3 smaller keeps visible beside the main tower. The castle is a 15-minute walk from Himeji Station straight up the main road. You can't miss it. Literally, it dominates the skyline like a white mountain. Admission costs 1,000 yen for adults, about $7. The combination ticket, including nearby Kokoen Garden, costs 1,050 yen and is absolutely worth the extra 50 cents.
You came here expecting another castle story. Stone walls, battles, sieges, the usual. Instead, you found something stranger. A fortress so perfectly built it defied bombs, earthquakes, and time itself. A labyrinth that never tasted blood. A white heron that spread its wings over 4 centuries of chaos and somehow, impossibly, remained untouched. Himeji Castle isn't just architecture. It's proof that when humans build with enough skill, enough care, enough genius, we create things that outlast empires. The best part? You can walk through it, touch those ancient pillars, climb those steep stairs, stand where samurai stood, and look out over a city that burned while the castle watched, eternal and gleaming white. That's not just history. That's a miracle in wood and stone.